Right now, great to be catching up with the New Zealand Breeders Association. What is your official title, Mr. Brad Reid?
Executive manager, I think. Something that's probably far too befitting of someone of my stature. But anyway, yep, that's the role.
It's a busy role, and it's about to get very, very busy with the we're going to discuss these seminars that are starting up in New Zealand at the minute. But it's an ever-changing landscape, if you like, the breeding industry, and especially this year, there's been plenty of chatter. It's a busy job you've got.
Yeah, we've just put probably the biggest job of the 12 months on the back burner on Monday, where the Register of Standardbred Stallions went to print. So I was glad to see the back of that and come up for a bit of a year. And yeah, look, it's just sort of coincides, I guess, in that really condensed window where everything's happening. We've got our new membership. We've recently, I guess, put together a new executive strategy and just trying to sharpen things up and really have a red hot crack at delivering some exciting new initiatives and obviously working in unison with HRNZ to in our shared goal for growing breeding numbers, which is, it's a challenge, but it's one we're up for.
Right, we might touch on these seminars. The dates are scrolling through underneath: Christchurch, Invercargill and Karaka. They start Saturday night, I believe.
Saturday night in Christchurch, mate, yeah, at Commodore Hotel, which is the new venue. So look, we when at the outset of this, we took on some feedback in regards to the stallion seminars with the participating studs and also, I guess, those in attendance. And there was a bit of a cry for change. It's possibly, grown a wee bit stale, I guess you could say. And like we've generally had pretty good turnout, but we tried a different model recently where we had it on race night in Christchurch, and while it worked to some degree, it also worked against us, I guess, having the busyness of the races on. So we've moved to a venue and a date which is in silo of a race night. So the Commodore in Christchurch, and obviously we've changed the concept. So we're doing away with the PowerPoint slides and I guess some of the race videos, which when you've got the number of stallions we're dealing with, which is upwards of sort of 40 or 50, it can be quite hard and an overwhelming and overbearing night in terms of length. So doing away with some of those race videos and the likes and got Brittany Graham on board, which has been a big coup for us in the sense of, I guess, her knowledge, her experience as a broadcaster and an interviewer, and I guess she's a license holder and participant too, so she has a really in-depth knowledge, which I think will be great for some of the participant studs and drawing out some of their knowledge of their stallions, which we're really looking forward to.
She has one other key point that so many of us do have, but she's got a passion for the industry. She's not up there to earn a buck. She wants the industry to survive, and that's always key, which is what you guys are about. So what do people expect when they go to these venues? We want to make sure we can get people there. You said that it's going to be a different format. If you've gone to ones beforehand, I gather you're going to try and make it a touch shorter, if you like, on presentation. Maybe not the whole time that people are there for, though.
So look, we anticipate we're kicking off at 6 p.m. at all three venues, and we're sort of, the Christchurch has a bit of a busier schedule with a few attending that aren't attending the others. So we envisage the speaking arrangements to be concluded within 90 minutes to maybe an hour and 3/4, which part of the excitement of these nights, I think, in particular, is the networking aspect. And, we've got an overwhelming response at Christchurch with 136 confirmed in attendance, and that's not including the stud representative. So a bit nervous about having to possibly close it off. It's a good problem to have, I guess. We can seat 200, but we've catered for 150 at this stage, and that could be growing. But look, as I say, we will be ripping through. We're going to have some sort of interactive breeding sort of quizzes for giveaways. There are stallion services at all three venues that are going to be given away, as well as two vet breeding packages. And I guess the opportunity to learn a lot about these stallions, particularly some of the new ones, with juveniles about to hit the track or first foals and the likes. I think there's a really good opportunity for these studs, for the participants that are turning up, or the guests that are turning up, to engage with some of these stud reps and learn things that they may not generally pull out of the stallion register on a website.
Yeah, and I think the other part you mentioned there about race replays and the monotony, if you like, of watching 3 and 4 times horses going across the line, and that they can actually do that now if they like. They can also do it when they get home from these seminars, either that night, the next day, whenever they like. If the information's there for people to be able to access it, try and give people something that they may not normally see, I suppose, is what you're after.
100%. Look, we understand that for the studs, for them to have value in it, they've still got to get their key points across. And I guess when you're looking at how can we condense a format with up to 50 stallions needing speaking to, one of the things we looked at was, I guess, the race replays. And as you pointed out, Paul, those videos and stuff are all available on their website for people to access when they get home. And we recommend they do take that opportunity when that time comes, if they are interested in the stallions. But look, to the likes of someone like Pat Driscoll, for Brittany to be able to talk to him about his European sojourns and find out a little bit more about the stuff, the sidelines of Ready Cash. I think, having a bit more of an engaged and dynamic discussion with a guy like that, we're going to get a lot better information as attendees.
Yeah, and there's two sides of it too. You might not be thinking about breeding, but you might be thinking about the yearling sales, young trainers, although you don't want too many more at Christchurch by the sounds. But one of the common things that was said to me at the yearling sales this year, don't know a lot about this stallion, don't know a lot about that stallion. Bang, you've got access. But Pat is going to be there for a couple of days. He's going to be there for every seminar. I do know that. I wear a Yevidam Farms hat. There's no problems there, but he is going to be there for all three. But for young trainers wanting to know maybe what they're purchasing and understanding it, it's a huge opportunity as well.
And that's where I think we've seen possibly a growth in the numbers. We've collaborated with the three trainers and drivers associations to market this event to their constituents. And, I haven't seen the specific names for the RSVPs, but I really think there is some serious value in some of these horsemen and horsewomen coming to these events to learn about these stallions, because as you said, they're going to be purchasing them at the yearling sales. And I always hark back to a time to a fairly prominent trainer who I won't name, but it always makes me giggle when I realize he spent 60 grand on the full brother roll with Joe. And I said to him, you've followed your nose there. And he had no idea the horse was a full brother, the Bettor's Delight. So there you go. There's probably something for everyone to learn at these events.
So he just bought the horse on spec, not so much
on spec, no idea it's full brother to Bettor's Delight.
He did all right. He could have gone enormous, but he just still did okay anyway. So it is an amazing family, and I think that's the other part. You'll find some of those stories behind the scenes. The other part, Brad, you will do, especially if you're a young breeder, you'll probably understand where the passion comes from so many of these people, like Pat Driscoll's, Duncan McPherson's over here, that are trying to engage the trotters. You've got Ken Brecken over there, and Ken and Karen, what they're trying to do now. There's so many people now trying to grow these trotters, and with these international bloodlines, we know so much about the Americans. We don't know so much about these European horses, if you like, and that's what I think where they'll be able to eke out a bit of this passion that people have.
100%. And I think one thing that gets lost a wee bit is, when you're paying invoices and, as a gentleman breeder, I can't speak to this, but, people are feeding out in the harsh Canterbury winters and Southland winters and whatnot. You lose that element of why we do it. And hopefully nights like this, when we all get together in the same room and can share war stories and, we do it for fun. There's got to be an element of fun to this. And that's what we're trying to bring back, is a bit of that excitement and passion and the storytelling behind it, because, we don't do this because we hate it.
No, I like that, war stories, because you do think you're on your own sometimes when things go pear-shaped. And probably, I suppose, the other side, when you have a good result, either selling at yearling sales or, breeding a Group 1 winner, I think more people like SBSR, they're great testament to that. When someone wins a race, you're not on your own. When someone has an issue down south as well, they're not on their own. And I think that's one of the great things about the Breeding Association.
I think, for the most part, mate, everyone's super keen to celebrate each other's successes, which is possibly rare in some other sort of competitive industries. But, I think that's one thing that everyone understands, is we're all trying to breed that one good horse. And when someone does have that element of success, you see it time and time again, that everyone is just, really stoked to see it happen, whoever it is. And, just sharing that celebration and success, because that's why we do it.
If anyone wants to get involved in these seminars and book, how do they do it?
So at the three venues, I guess probably the easiest way would possibly at this stage, just flick me an email, brad@thebreeders.co.nz. It really would help for catering purposes if you could indicate that if you have an RSVP to date and you were interested in coming, be very grateful if you could signal that interest, so we could cater accordingly. As I say, I'm a wee bit nervous about Christchurch, and Invercargill's looking really strong too, with over 100. And Auckland's building as well. I think they've got around 50 at this stage too, and growing. So look, we're more the merrier, and anyone who's keen to come, love to see them in attendance. It'll be a great night.
Yep, and it's great that you're supporting the Pattersons, Ascot Park Hotel as well down south. They look after so many harness people down there as well, and Karaka with the guys from NZB. So I think that part's pretty important as well. You haven't gone to a town hall. You're looking after people that look after the industry, and I think that's one thing we do need to do as an industry. Full stop.
Absolutely, and that's something we've looked at, I guess. And this is no dig, slight on Addington on race day, but it just did get a bit busy. So we're more than happy to take these functions, which I believe once upon a time were at the Commodore back in the day, probably well before my involvement. But I guess the proof's been in the pudding with the turnout. Ascot's always a phenomenal venue and great place to stay when you're down there, and then Karaka, doesn't need any words really. It's a phenomenal venue. So yeah, we're really excited, and furthermore, just would like to take this opportunity to thank my affiliate branches and the volunteers that without them, none of this would be possible. They do a hell of a lot behind the scenes to help put on and coordinate an event like this. They don't get paid, and they show up month after month, contributing great ideas, and their involvement to pulling this all off. Really, really thankful to them, as well as Brittany for making herself available.
No, absolutely. Get in touch with. Go to the breeders.co.nz. The contact details are there. I actually just posted up there. That's the website. You'll be able to go there. So it's just at the contact us at the end. You'll be able to get in touch with Brad. But that's for any other questions as well. And get along to these seminars. As I said, the dates are scrolling underneath the back. And don't get a rush to leave either. As I said, you're looking after the Pattersons. They put money back into the sport. Ascot Park Hotel have a blue cod if you go down there. Got a lot of recommendations for food, but that is one of the best fish you can eat anywhere. So even if you don't like fish, and then of course Karaka, beautiful place to stay and look after. And I do wear a few hats, and they're all affiliated with that. Brad, just on your numbers, you said there before 50 stallions standing this year, registered. Sorry, not necessarily standing, because there's a couple that are definitely in Australia, but registered in New Zealand. Was that what you would have expected, I suppose, at the start of the year?
So just sorry, mate. So to that, in the index of the stallion register, there was 59. So I'm talking 50 at the stallion register, just in terms of there are some participating studs that aren't going to be there. But yeah, we've got 59 in the index of the stallion register, with one late entry as well, which we're trying to negotiate.
Yep.
Apologies for the dog barking in the background there. Look, it was probably thereabouts what I was expecting in terms of, I guess, where breeding numbers have got to. The fact that the year before was about 63, 59, it's not a significant drop. The one thing that is interesting, I guess, is the pacing, and there's actually more trotting stallions available this year than the paces in the index, which I think would be a first for the stallion registry and those involved in harness racing, particularly when you think there were only 498 trotting mares bred last year.
So can you go back? There's more trotting stallions registered in New Zealand this year than there is pacing stallions. Is that what you're saying?
In terms of the stallion register and its advertisements, yes, that may change with a few of the sort of homebred stallions that don't get marketed. But last count with the late edition, it's 30 to 29 in favour of the trotters.
That's unbelievable.
It is, mate. And it's like, you look at it and it's actually quite, you're just so sport for choice. And I guess that's one thing with trotting, it can be quite hard to breed commercially with only a handful of, sort of selling in that 6-figure bracket. And Pat bringing his yearlings across has definitely probably bolstered that yep. commercial end. But you can make a case for any one of those trotting stallions. There's a lot of, to quote Jim Dalgety, hybrid vigor there through the European bloodlines. We've got a lot of Australasian and homebreds, with some of Pat's new ones coming off the track and being made available, and some really exciting New Zealand stallions. Like, I'm really excited to see some of the first crops of Habibi Inter. Some glowing reports around him, and I think people forget. And then Marcola as well, another New Zealand bred stallion at such an affordable price, doing a great job. And you see it time and time again with the trotters. Some of these $1,000 stallions are competitive with the Muscle Hills.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And even some of those Muscle Hill horses don't stand for a lot of money. There is expensive ones, there is cheap ones as well, and they do an amazing job. And like you said, you've got to learn a lot of these European bloodlines as well, but some of the American lines are outstanding. Is that a concern for you, though? You said there before 400 registered trotting mares.
498 bred last year. Look, that to be fair, you could say that, but it's actually the trotting market is one that's held steady. It's the decline in the pacing market, which I guess is probably more of the concern.
Okay. Yep.
the trotters are now about 1/3 of the foal crop, which I think historically it was probably down more closer to 20%. There's been a bit of a shift there, and yeah, I guess that is the tough thing. And when you look in the stallion register and you are trying to breed commercially, it's just a bit of an awkward time where some of these stallions are well and truly putting their hand up, but the big dogs like Bettor's Delight and Art Major, while they're getting up there in age, they're not ready to cede the crown either. So it's one of those things when you're peering into a crystal ball trying to breed for the sales and breed commercially, it can be tough to take a punt on some of these up and coming stallions, because unlike North America, I think some of our license holders are a little remiss to, I guess, try and make someone else's stallion. They like to see the runs on the board first, which I guess that provides some opportunity for others at the yearling sales to take a chance if they follow their nose. And coming to these seminars might be a great opportunity to learn about some of these great stallions, because honestly, when you look in the book, you can make a case for every one of them. Good horses come from everywhere, but there's not a bad horse in the stallion book. You could easily make a case for all of them.
I think that's one of the things. People don't stand a stallion just because they say, "Oh, we kept him as a colt, we're going to stand him as stud." He'll either have the runs on the board, or he beautifully bred. Like I know the Hopes in Carlton. I don't think he would have 3 starts or something, and he's already left a handful of winners because of his breeding, because of his type, and they suspected they don't just. You don't just register them, because it's not a cheap exercise to go about it.
As you pointed out, they've all got either race records or blue blood breeding, and they're not doing it for fun either. Like, it's a commercial exercise, and while I'm sure all of them would like more mares, every single one of them, it's a case of these horses are serious animals, and I guess as the breed has refined, it's just further reflected that. It's really exciting.
Now, probably furthermore to getting people to the seminars, when you think about it, contact the likes of Pat, these big time breeders who understand crosses and lines, and then start looking at Gavel House and all these other platforms to find your trotting mare that might cross, because it's a unique opportunity there. By the sounds, there is a huge opportunity for people to get in before it does potentially change.
100%. And then like to the pacing market, just this year, like we Kettle Wash, frozen salmon being made available by Yerriby, number one 2-year-old stallion in North America to date, which is when you actually look through some of these stallion tables, it's incredible what we have access to in terms of our bloodlines now. So as I say, there's some great value there as well. Amongst them all, some of the studs have really taken the initiative around the Harness 5000 scheme and lowered some of their service fees to accommodate that. And there really is something for everyone.
Yeah, and I think also one that I do try to harp on about, Brad, and I won't mention horses, but there are some stallions here in Australia that have got a cap on them. We've got 150 cap, and they cannot breed anymore, and people are trying to get into breed to them. They can't. I think the Kiwi breeders possibly need to be aware of those horses and potentially breed to those to go to the sales, because you'll have a market where people are still trying to purchase these horses because the ceiling's been reached here in Australia. So there is also that opportunity to breed to horses that the Aussie breeder may not get the opportunity to breed to.
Look, I think a prime example of that is John Stuyven in Arden Lodge. He's always been pretty high on his North American bloodlines and supported Bulldog Hanover when he was available. And I don't have the exact numbers, but I think he got around 5 fillies and a colt, and he possibly got the only colt for the yearling sales. And the way that small test crop of Bulldog Hanovers is running in North America, I'd say he'd be rubbing his hands together quite nicely there. And word is he's keeping his fillies, but again, that's just an example of one of those where sometimes supply and demand can work really strongly in your favour.
Yep, that beaming smile of John's will be well and truly there. The cheeks will be puffed up, and I've got the Diamond Creek on too, because there is some still exciting initiatives happening there as well. Brad, thank you. I could talk to you forever. We will be catching up. I'm going to try and do it a bit more of a regular thing. Might do a catch up afterwards and just see how it all went from your point of view, and things you guys learned, because I'm sure you're going to learn a lot. There'll be no problems there as well, and just the attendance and how it all went.
Yeah, Paul, and just while I remember, we've just taken the initiative to contract someone to actually film the event and do a bit of a post-production, because there's been a bit of feedback based off I guess, the change of format that a lot of people in the districts and wider community that would love to attend, it's just probably not feasible by way of travel sometimes. So we're going to film and do a bit of a post-production edit to accommodate those that couldn't attend but are keen to see what went on and learn about these horses. So we'll be making that available on our social media channels in the aftermath of the event.
Actually, it was one thing I was thinking about doing, except I'm going to Ireland next week, so I just need to get a few things sorted out there first. But that is awesome, and people will be able to sit back and watch those. So well done to you guys. Always thinking on your feet. Brad, thank you. Thank you very much for joining me, mate. I really appreciate it. Good luck over the next 6 days. I think Pat said he's away for a week. So, but yeah, good luck to all the stallion holders, the breeders, everyone that's involved over there as well. And I hope it's a great event and encourages people to breed more numbers. We need more horses bred, that's for sure.
100%, mate. Hey, thanks for taking the time to have a chat.